From wherever you are in the world, welcome to your Melbourne Commencement Ceremony 2021. I'm Georgie Coughlin and I'm delighted to be your host again for the Faculty of Fine Arts and Music. Your commencement ceremony celebrates the start of your tertiary career here at the University of Melbourne. And we want to welcome you with an event that acknowledges your success and the academic experiences and opportunities that lie ahead. You'll hear from the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Duncan Maskell. You'll also hear from your Dean, Professor Marie Sierra. And you'll meet someone who's been in your shoes, one of our amazing alumni. We'll talk about student support services available to you, as well as meeting some of the fabulous peer mentors. All of this while you're hopefully relaxing at home. In Australia, a Welcome to Country is performed by an Indigenous elder to recognise the original owners and custodians of the land on which the event is taking place. We are fortunate to have with us Auntie Di Kerr, a Wurundjeri elder, and the Jiri Jiri dancers.
Wurundjeri, Wurundjeri, Naramo. Wurundjeri, Wurundjeri, Naramo. Bambocho maninga, Bambocho maninga. Wanganino, tula padro. Wanganino, tula padro. Ngagaje, 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 ngagaje. Wanganino, tula padro. Wanganino, tula padro. Ngagaje, 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 ngagaje. Wingmaleo, Coreno, Galen Mariamo, Mamelamo, Womanjeka, Womanjeka.
I honour my ancestors and my elders, and I pay homage to the sacred ground I'm on and all the sacred grounds that you're on. I wish to acknowledge any elders of different nations, any First Nations peoples from across the waters, all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, and I acknowledge you all. And I pay my respects to your ancestors, elders and families. It's an honour and a privilege to welcome you here today and to also have my daughter Melissa with me for a smoking ceremony. And what a journey you're going to have. This is the first year of your journey in university. Myself personally, as a Wurundjeri elder, I have a long journey with Melbourne University, and it's important that you enjoy your journey while you're here. You need to look after each other while you're at university, because your well-being is the most important thing. I firmly believe if we can understand each other, that we can eradicate racism and stigma, and when we do that, we live in peace. And I think that's the most important thing in our lives. Put a leaf on the fire, and that is on your behalf. The reason I do that is because I'm asking you to follow the laws of the land. The laws of the land are not to harm the land or the waters, and not to harm any of Bunjil's children. Bunjil is our creator. So it's more than just looking after country, it's about respecting each other, respecting the Wurundjeri people and taking care of each other. On behalf of the Wurundjeri people, we welcome you. We ask you, if you're in any cultural troubles, to contact us, and we will support you during your studies and during your journey. So can I say, may Bunjil, our creator, surround you and give you strength and resilience. And on behalf of my elders, I say Womanjeka, Wurundjeri Balak Yiman Gundibik. That means welcome to the traditional country of the Wurundjeri people. For those at the moment that aren't on Wurundjeri country, I can't welcome you to the country that you're on, but I can acknowledge the country you're on and hope that where you are, the community gives you the strength and resilience and helps you and supports you in your journey. So Nun Godjan, that means thank you. Nun Godjan for allowing me to come in today and do a welcome. Nun Godjan.
Thank you, Auntie Di. We appreciate your wise and kind words of welcome. And now for the formal address, the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Melbourne, Professor Duncan Maskell.
Waminjeka, welcome. It's my great pleasure to speak to you today as together we mark the beginning of your journey here at the University of Melbourne. First, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which the University of Melbourne stands. The Wurundjeri people, the Boonwurrung people, the Dja Dja Wurrung people and the Yorta Yorta peoples. I acknowledge the Indigenous elders of this land, past, present and emerging. Today, I officially welcome you as commencing students to the University of Melbourne community. There's a song by John Lennon of the Beatles, my generation, not yours, that plays on the words, strange days. Nobody told me there'd be days like these, strange days indeed. For nearly all of us, the times we've lived through since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic have been very strange. Not at all what any of us were expecting just 12 or 18 months ago. The pandemic has affected the labour force. It's affected whole nations. It has certainly affected education in schools and universities. But here is an important fact from which I hope every one of you commencing at the University of Melbourne in 2021 will take great encouragement and confidence for your future. Great education has not changed. The quality of great education in a world-leading university like Melbourne has not fallen away. And the vital impact created by education and by the people leading the educational and research efforts of the university, many of whom will be your teachers, is even greater than it's ever been. So what you are doing by signing on for your education at the University of Melbourne this year is a fantastic move for you and for the world. Well done for joining us, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, the university makes certain promises to you, and when you return for graduation here in a few years' time, I hope that these will have been delivered. These are our promises: that you will have learned in a respectful environment, that you will have made new friends and formed new relationships with a diverse range of people, that you will have come to an appreciation of how fortunate we are as members of a privileged university community in this country, and that you will have become determined to make your own positive contribution to make the world a better place. For me, today is also a day for congratulating you on what you've achieved so far, and for celebrating what's in front of you as you become part of one of the world's most respected educational institutions. I also want to share my disappointment that not all of our commencing students can be present in person on campus. To those who are studying with us online and from overseas, please receive my sincere good wishes, and I very much hope to be welcoming you onto campus in person as soon as that is possible. We are an international university, welcoming students from more than 130 different countries. And of course, we are as delighted to welcome many students from around Australia and from Victoria. As a large and diverse community, we learn to live with each other and to respect one another's views as we strive for new knowledge. Indeed, I believe that one of our great strengths is that in a university there is no single opinion or one set path. The discipline of learning is real, and we encourage and inspire each other to learn better and learn from each other. But one of the great joys of a great university education is that through all that learning, you get a life-changing chance to define your own views and your own path in life. Uniquely, what a great university education offers you is the chance to form new connections, to have existing views questioned, to be pushed to consider issues and problems in different ways. We ask you to do these things because at the University of Melbourne, diverse views and perspectives aren't just welcomed, they're encouraged. Robust and reasoned academic debate is the bedrock of how we learn. We know you have the capacity to make a great contribution through this respectful but rigorous process of challenging, listening, arguing, learning. We await and welcome your contribution within this scholarly world. Provided that we are respectful, there are no issues or problems which cannot be investigated and debated in a university. We do this as part of our search for truth, not in order to belittle you if you hold different views from others within the group. Here, you have the right to feel safe and supported to be valued for who you are and to have political and religious views that are different to others. You have responsibilities too, to respect difference in others and to treat everyone fairly. At Melbourne, you can know that you'll be supported and that our differences enrich and strengthen our community. We also expect everyone to adhere to our clear policies on student conduct, living up to the values of the Student Charter and knowing when no is the response, respecting the boundaries and decisions of others with regard to consent. Put clearly, the University of Melbourne has zero tolerance for sexual assault and sexual harassment. Your university has clear codes of conduct and we will not tolerate behaviour that does not meet our standards. We are committed to a safe, inclusive and respectful community. We don't just say it, we mean it. And you will receive this message from the university in many different ways throughout your studies. Again, I congratulate you on your achievement in being accepted to the University of Melbourne, and I thank you for the trust that you've placed in us to guide you along this path. Today marks the beginning of your lifelong membership of the university community. Give it all you've got, don't miss the chance to get involved, and rest assured, we will be doing everything we can to support you along the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice-Chancellor. Now let's hear from the leader of your faculty, the Dean of Fine Arts and Music, Professor Marie Sierra.
Welcome to the Faculty of Fine Arts and Music. We are so glad you are joining us. At the faculty, we acknowledge and pay our respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students, staff, elders and collaborators, and all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who visit our campuses from across Australia. We recognise the unique place held by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples as the traditional custodians of the lands on which we meet. Here at South Bank, we teach and learn upon the lands of the Boonwurrung and at Parkville upon the lands of the Woorwurrung. We respect these lands as places where meeting, making, performing, storytelling and creating have taken place for thousands of generations. You are among almost 400 commencing students, joining a faculty almost 2,500 strong. Many of you have waited a long time to study what you're interested in and what you're passionate about, an art form that speaks to you and that lets you speak to others. We are here to help you find your voice and what you want to say, to find your place in and make a unique contribution to a worldwide community of creative practice. This is a new start for you. It's a new start for the staff too, as every year we welcome a new cohort of students beginning their study with us. Every new year brings fresh faces, new ideas, and a renewal of energy for our community. For 2021, it's a new start for me too, as I've just joined the faculty as the new dean. What's unique to this place is enduring and hard to find. Here we have a sense of purpose that is clear and strong, and staff that work together to make your experience as a student one that will shape your life. You're now a valued member of the Faculty of Fine Arts and Music, and it's important that you know what it means to be a member of this community. The academic staff teaching your subjects are internationally recognized for their disciplinary excellence. They are leaders in their fields and bring their innovative research insights directly to their interactions with you. They will encourage you to take ownership of your learning experience by questioning established systems of knowledge and understanding. But just as importantly, you will be studying with the best and brightest like-minded students who will support you, learn with you, and challenge you to be the best you can be. You may be surprised to hear that much of what you will learn will be from your peers as well as from your teachers. Your fellow students are the people who will form your community while you're at university, but also far into the future. Sometimes in the years to come, it might be hard to hold on to your capacity to find delight in a life devoted to art. But it's not just your own individual skills and resilience that will protect your creative spirit and foster your career. What's more important is the strength of the creative community with which you surround yourself and the contribution you can make in return. Whether they are a close and trusted collaborator or an audience member, your fellow students will continue to support you and care about your work for many years to come. You will always have the experience of the time and place where you studied and a profound sense of how this shaped you and your practice and research going forward. Someday, you will be able to look back at starting university in 2021 and say, that was the year after COVID hit, and after not being able to go to performances due to lockdowns, we were able to look forward to enjoying them again. That was the year that I really came to value what art and culture meant. What a great time to be studying when so many people, some of whom may have forgotten or never realized the importance of culture and creativity, they are suddenly awake to its potential in a way that has not happened for many years. You will be entering a reinvigorated, creative community, one that is worldwide and vibrant. We have 2 schools, and you will be joining one or the other, the Victorian College of the Arts or the Melbourne Conservatorium of Music. They will be where you spend most of your time studying and where you make most of your connections with staff and with peers. They provide the specialization in which you seek to hone your skills, extend your thinking, and expand your creativity, all within your own field of interest. But you'll also spend some time in other disciplines, in what we call breadth subjects, which give you exposure to other areas of the university. As a creative person, it's important that you experience access to the full spectrum of the world of knowledge that a university provides. To communicate your work well, it's important to learn to listen to the other art forms and other disciplines beyond your own, so you can know how to reach a wide group of people. The most important thing a creative person can do is to never stop learning. Your time with us will be an accelerated period of study, but as a creative, you are embarking on a lifetime of learning, so be open to new experiences. Take yourself beyond your comfort zone and explore pathways that may be unknown to you. Prepare to have your assumptions challenged and think in new ways, because if you can't surprise yourself, how will you ever surprise an audience? This all belongs to the future, a future you will build with us from your first day. For now, know that being a member of the Faculty of Fine Arts and Music means, more than anything, that you have an unrivaled range of opportunity and experiences right in front of you. It's up to you to seize this chance and to make the absolute most of this moment. And we look forward to celebrating your achievements. Thank you, and welcome to the faculty.
Marie, thank you so much for that very warm welcome to the faculty. Let's go back to when you were first entering university, as I imagine an 18 or 19-year-old over in the States.
I think the main emotion I would have felt was apprehension. And just thinking about it now, I was a few weeks off of being 18, so I was 17. And I was worried about finding my way and who I would meet and if I would be good enough and whether I'd be able to handle all the newness of all at once. It was a lot to take on board. And I think ambitious is probably right. And in the US, that's not an uncommon thing. Ambition is something that's talked about quite a lot.
And we were talking earlier and you mentioned that you had a couple of jobs sort of on the side with your degree.
Like a lot of people, I started out in hospitality, but when these other jobs came up, which wasn't too long into when I was studying, I decided to take them, even though they were going to be more challenging in some ways, in that I had to learn a lot of new things, working in metalsmithing and working for one of my lecturers who always had a lot of projects on. I actually look back at that period now and think about what a lot of work it was for not a lot of money, but it made me understand what an artist does in the world.
You referenced in your wonderful speech that it's certainly a very challenging time for the arts and this faculty, and there will be a lot of students coming in, I think, that have been told, oh, you sure you really want to go down that path?
My dad came out and sat down next to me and said, it's almost the end of the first year. You sure you want to do this? Like, you sure you want to be an artist? How are you going to make a living? And I just remember looking at him and saying, I'm going to do it, Dad. I will find a way to go about it. And I remember him saying, you probably will, and just walking off again. The kind of moral to that story is, of the 4 of us in my family, I have 2 brothers in computer and a sister in finance, and they've all been in and out of work I've never been out of work. I've always had more work than I could do, which has been great. And I think that also comes from that bit of a spirit of saying, there's a job, I don't really know how to do it, but I'll start and I'll learn on the way, and I'll learn how this applies, and I'll learn how what I know can be applied to what I'm being asked to do. And I think that's something that creatives are absolutely fabulous at.
Breadth subjects are something that can really help some students find little niches of passion that they probably didn't know existed. Why should a student look at doing a breadth subject, do you think?
I'm sure a lot of students will wonder what, I only want to do this one thing that I love and I do so well, and what are these other things about? They provide context, and they provide a touchstone to the other many, many disciplines that a university offers, that each one of them is their own universe. And understanding all the different universes that are out there, or at least knowing that they're there, is really, really valuable.
Marie, I loved the part in your speech where you said, if you can't surprise yourself, how can you expect to surprise an audience? That was so beautifully worded. What advice do you have to the students of 2021 to make sure that they are vulnerable, that they are brave?
I think being curious and confident and willing to take on even critical feedback from your peers, from your lecturers, is really an important way of continuing to learn. And what it helps a creative person to do is learn how to be open from there forward to anything that comes their way. So whether it's a breadth subject, or a new piece of critical input, or a script they've never read before, or an artwork they've never encountered before, or a piece of music they've never played before that they're suddenly being asked to do, just jump in and see what you can do. Don't ever stop learning.
Thank you so much, Marie. All the best for a smooth and wonderful 2021.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're now going to hear from some students about the Melbourne Peer Mentor Program, and importantly, how it can help you.
The mentoring program for me means that it was like a good first step into uni.
I didn't know very many people going into the University of Melbourne, so being involved in this program was definitely something that I wanted to put my hand up for. I'm definitely someone who just tries as many things as he can.
If you're a first year student, you will get assigned a group of people who will be your peer mentor group. The peer mentor will organise a few meetings, whether it's online or in person.
Across the year, you'll have multiple peer mentoring sessions on topics such as well-being in the middle of the semester. Later in the semester, there'll be some topics on exams and how to write your essays. It's a really safe space, and it just provides an additional support network to what you already have.
My mentors helped me a lot when I was in first year. Like when I first came to uni, I know nobody, have no idea where to go for my classes, but those students, they really helped me.
It's like a friend chatting with you, and it's also someone that supports you own studies, which really feel great.
My mentor was really interesting. He was a science student that transferred into commerce, and so it was great for me because I sort of went into uni with all these questions and I could just bombard him with everything, and he'd be really nice and take his time and answer all of them. So for me, who was someone who was always curious, he'd always have the time for me, and I think that really helped me out.
I found out about the peer mentor program, and I was really excited to be part of it because in my first year I didn't know a lot of the facilities and the services that the university provided, which once I found out made life a whole lot easier in doing academic studies and getting to know people and just engaging with the university and all the services it provided.
Now becoming a mentor, it's kind of like my way of giving back to the students, kind of helping the incoming students with whatever questions they have.
Definitely go for it. There's nothing to lose. Obviously, everyone's in the same situation when you come to uni. Everyone's nervous, everybody wants to make friends. So just go in there with the mentality of why not, nothing to lose. Only something good can come from it, really.
In my first semester in the Bachelor of Science, I chose some subjects that just weren't for me. They didn't cater to my interest in psychology, so I had a bit of a freak out, is this really what I want to do? So I went to Stop One, I had a few meetings, and they really helped me figure out my entire course plan, so I didn't have to worry about whether these subjects were giving me the credits I need. I could just really relax and enjoy everything Melbourne Uni had to offer.
It's just so great to get involved in that social atmosphere. Go, join a club that you've never heard of before, like the Cheese Club, or there was a tabletop gaming club as well, so there's so much stuff to explore. I'm just so keen to do that again.
You'll be surprised at how much people actually do want to help you. Just ask a question and they'll probably give you a whole spiel on how good it is at Melbourne Uni.
Looking forward to seeing you on the Melbourne Peer Mentor program.
And thank you for all of our fabulous peer mentors. What a wonderful program. Well, our guest alumni is Benjamin Northey. Benjamin is a renowned Australian conductor and he's the Chief Conductor of the Christchurch Symphony Orchestra and the Principal Conductor in the residence of the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra. He appears regularly as a guest conductor with all major Australian symphony orchestra, Opera Australia, New Zealand Opera and State Opera South Australia. It gets better. Hang on to your seats. International appearances include concerts with the London Philharmonic Orchestra, the Tokyo Philharmonic Orchestra, the Mozarteum Orchestra in Salzburg and the Hong Kong Philharmonic, the National Symphony Orchestra of Colombia, the Malaysian Philharmonic and the New Zealand Symphony, Auckland Philharmonica and Christchurch Symphony Orchestras. My goodness, that is the most incredible CV. Ben, welcome back to your stomping ground here at the University of Melbourne.
Great to see you, Georgie. My agent wrote that for sure. That's a long list.
Well, I wanted to include that long list because clearly it's so impressive. And now I want to jump back to when you first came here to the University of Melbourne. You didn't necessarily have what some would say would be a standard experience here in terms of your courses.
All of our lives are a journey. We don't know which particular turns they're going to take sometimes. We don't know where we're going to end up. We don't know the destination, and that's the beauty of it. And that's certainly my experience of coming to university as a young musician out of school in Ballarat and playing the saxophone. I used to play the saxophone, the flute and the clarinet and the piano. And I remember coming in my first year, it must have been 1990, to the Institute of Education and where I was studying music as a specialisation. But I started getting gigs in Melbourne after about 6 months of being here, after moving down. And so I ended up then dropping out of university. So I'm a uni dropout initially. And it was only some years later when I went back to the conservatorium and got more serious about my studies in classical music. And particularly I was studying classical saxophone at that point in time, which is a niche area, let me tell you.
Okay, so let's go to that point. You are in 4th year at the conservatorium and you have an incredible mentor and teacher who really changed the course of your whole career.
I had a 10-year professional career as a performer. I'd done a lot of arranging of music and had a really consolidated foundation in music. By the time I was in 4th year, when I met a teacher called John Hopkins, who had just begun his kind of residence at the Melbourne Conservatorium of Music. He was somebody who'd done everything in Australian music, an absolute legend in his later years, and set up a conducting program. And in 4th year, we had to do an elective of conducting for half of that year. And I just got really sort of inspired by this amazing person who was teaching us so much about music and the fascinating world of conducting, you know, waving your hands around and learning the vocabulary of gestures and working with groups of musicians. I just loved it. He encouraged me to pursue that as a specialisation, and I thought he was absolutely mad at the time. And I remember thinking, well, I'm a saxophone player. And I remember him talking specifically about possibility, and he just said, well, you don't know what's possible. Really, you don't know, do you? Give it a go. He was right. And then that started a complete career change for me into orchestral conducting. And it's been an amazing journey.
I want to ask, what has been your favourite gig in that phenomenal career of yours so far?
Standing up on stage for the first time with the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra at the Sydney Myer Music Bowl. It was an outdoor concert, really hot day in February. I'd been in Finland, I came back especially. My teacher, John Hopkins, was there, very proudly watching on. My family were there, all of my music teachers from school in Ballarat. Everyone came, and it was just, you know, this extraordinary culmination of that first part of my life, you know, and that had led me to this place that I never thought I would get to. I just had no idea that that was possible. And without the experiences that I had at uni and meeting this guy, John, that never would have happened, you know. So I'm very privileged to have had those opportunities, and that's a day I'll never forget.
Ben, it's been so great to talk to you, and I know the students would have gotten so much out of all of your wonderful stories. We can't wait to see you back on stage again soon.
Yeah, bring it on. Bring on 2021.
We hope you've enjoyed your session. Personally, I've loved listening to the Dean, our students, and of course, this fantastic alumni story. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you on campus.